Paul, Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, as well as honor to the men under the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect and those who hope to be of that number. Note, I am not affiliated with Great Millstone. I repeat, note, I am not affiliated with Great Millstone. I only learn wholly from them the doctrine of Yahushua and continue to learn from them. Concerning Great Millstone, when you look up GMS Hebrew Israelites to try and find Great Millstone channels, this is the search results YouTube provides you. You notice the mockers, the scoffers, the false bags, the show up. This is the chief mocker and scoffer called Vulcan Malone. He has a problem with the doctrine of Yahushua that the men of GMS and like-minded brothers push out. And you have bug-outs who fell out, who also have a problem. You get to find some brothers' channels at the bottom, towards the bottom, but he is making it harder to find this truth simply by searching up for it. You might have to write exact channel names, but an easy place to go is just click on my channel, I roll out a math. On my channel page, go to the channels tab. You will see all these GMS channels and like-minded brothers such as Yahweh the Maccabees, House of David. He pushes the same doctrine. And you can subscribe to them. For example, this is Eli Yashoma of GMS. GMS Shepherds of Yahushai, Aram of Prophet Aram of Elder No of GMS Birmingham. GMS narrator SC. Elder Manatas Akbar of GMS South Carolina. Daily Edification, Daily Exhortation. Elder Apostle Gabar. And so on. So this is just a quick place you can go. Right, math. I'll do it right now. Because Esau is going to make it harder and harder to find these channels. So you're going to have to write the exact name of the channels. Or hope you stumble across one of them, because he's going to put the results for the most part you're not looking for. There it is. Channels. Boom. Subscribe for further edification. Now that's out of the way. This video at this point is not concerning sedition and uproar of the people.
From a 5-day lockdown, protesters now facing the prospect of being locked up. Thousands taking to the streets of Melbourne to oppose the vaccine.
This is experimental bio-warfare on the people.
Many clashing with police.
On the ground now!
Victoria Police says 15 people will receive penalty notices for breaching the Chief Health Officer's directions. Another 5 have been charged with resisting arrest, hindering police and refusing to provide details.
It's time to move on. Go home.
Other rallies took place across the country, with more peaceful protests in Brisbane and Sydney, where former reality TV star Pete Evans made an appearance, surprising attendees with a speech.
Each and every one of you has to stand up in whatever capacity you can.
The COVID-19 vaccine rollout begins in key regions across the nation on Monday, with frontline workers and the elderly first in line. Also top of the list, the Prime Minister.
I'll be leading by example on that front.
There's been no indication the coronavirus vaccine will be made mandatory. Anna Rawlings, Sky News.
But you'll need the pharmacare shot to do the things you could have without it. Okay? Pretty soon come. You're not going to need it to, work at your job. You're going to need it to go to the shop to buy food, to buy necessities. You might even need it to collect medication, because they could be declining people. I feel like they're going to be declining people of their medication. Then they're not going to allow you to collect medication, get medication, if you refuse, if you say no to taking the jab. You're not going to be able to travel without it. And I'm not just talking about international travel, I'm talking about travel locally, city to city. The scripture says, a man shall desire to go into city and shall not be able to. Why? Because of travel restrictions. And travel restrictions will be imposed on those who do more on those. There will be more travel restrictions on those who refuse to take the pharmacia shot. So your life is going to become much more difficult without the max. And that's an example of coercion. Coercion is threatening people with a punishment, threatening or forcing people with a punishment, and the punishment, example of punishment is, if you do not, or if you refuse to take the pharmacia shot, you will not be able to go to work to make a living, and you need to make that living in order to pay your bills. So yes, it's somewhat, one way or another, it's going to be without option. Prime Minister, doubt he's taking the real stuff. Might be a placebo, saline, a vitamin, or even they use a retractable syringe, so it makes it look like he's taken it when he hasn't. Also, the pharmacia shot cannot be the clock of the feast, the thing that rhymes with M-O, M-O-B, the thing that rhymes with clock with the feast, clock of the feast. I'll spell it out for you. Clock of the feast means M-O beast. You know what I mean. The clock of the feast is not the pharmacia shot, because you will not be, because you will still be able to use cash as legal tender. Right now, as it's being rolled out, you can use cash as legal tender. That proves it in the market, the clock of the feast, because when the clock of the feast is rolled out, you will not be able to use cash as legal tender, meaning you won't be able to use cash to buy the stuff, since cash would have been replaced fully by digital currency, and digital currency is being rolled out in other places. Russia, they seem to be going ahead. We know the countries that are following suit. They all get orders from the international elites, the puppets, like the presidents, prime ministers, and other puppets to push that shit. Because the future the future currency is cashless and digital. Second Ezra 15, 16. There shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Sedition. Noun, conduct of speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. So sedition is rebelling against the state or monarch, whether it be in action, speech, or thought. And you see that an example of sedition is a protest. So for there shall be sedition among men, rebellion, people coming up against each other, rebelling against the state or monarchy, whether it be in action, speech, or thought, and invading one another. People are going to be stealing from each other, busting each other's house for food. The scripture tells in verse 19, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation, a man shall spoil his, their goods. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their house with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Tribulations cause great trouble and suffering that are soon to come to pass. These prophecies are popping up the pages like popcorn. For there shall be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. They're not going to regard their government authorities. They're not even going to regard the police and the army. The course of their actions shall stand in their power. Pretty soon people are going to do as they want. There's going to be little to no regard of the law of the land. 2 Ezra 9:3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, earthquakes, and this also links to the scripture Matthew 24:7, earthquakes in diverse places, earthquakes in a load of different places. All throughout the earth you have got earthquakes of different scale magnitudes: 5.4, 3.8, 7.1, 6.4. You're right. Earthquakes, Croatia, 6.4 the magnitude. 2020 Petrinja earthquake. 2019 Albania earthquake. Earthquakes in diverse places. 26th of November 2019. The Japan earthquake. Magnitude 5.4. Pretty sure there was a 7.3 or 7.1. Go on the news tab of the Google search engine. There is 7.3. Okay, Independence is 7.1, 7.3, so a magnitude over 7. But concerning the definition of uproar, a loud and impassioned noise or disturbance. A loud and impassioned noise or disturbance.
Five-day lockdown. Protesters now facing the prospect of being locked up.
A loud and impassioned voice causing a noise or disturbance. Well, that's what the government.
Thousands taking to the
That's how the
streets of
government see
Melbourne
us.
to oppose the vaccine.
Definitely, that's one
This is
person.
experimental bio-warfare on the people.
Many clashing with police,
Down the ground now!
reaching the Chief Health Officer police and refusing to provide
Those are the protests that causing a loud noise or disturbance, and that will definitely be perceived as so by members of the government.
details.
Time to move on. Go home.
Other rallies took place across
See that police is like, go home. Probably got the shit wrong, but you get the idea. A public expression of protest or outrage. And remember, sedition, an example of sedition is protest.
thousands suspect of being locked up. Now thousands taking to the streets of Melbourne to oppose the vaccine.
This is experimental bio-warfare.
Melbourne to oppose the vaccine.
This is experimental bio-warfare.
Melbourne to oppose the vaccine.
This is experimental bio-warfare on the people.
Many clashing with police.
Down the ground now!
Victoria Police says 15 people will receive penalty notices for breaching the Chief Health Officer's directions. Another 5 have been charged.
Alright, you can see that this is a fulfillment of scriptures. Clearly an example of sedition. Also clearly an example of uproar. So hopefully this video was edifying. Until next time, Shalom.